What that I'm doing is exploring how you might change landscape options or landscape policies in palm oil plantations. And the idea is that when you change those policies, what do you get back in terms of biodiversity and ecosystem functions and other environmental considerations? So we've done a lot of work to talk to policymakers, talk to stakeholders in the palm oil industry, to look at what sort of policies in terms of the landscape you might actually change, and then based on our data that we've collected on the ground for mammals and birds and insects and various different taxonomic groups, we can look at how these, if you change these policies, what the impact might be on biodiversity, as well as what the impact might be on the palm oil itself. Yeah, so we can look at things like changing riparian buffer widths. So talk about in these oil palm plantations, particularly in Malaysia, you have a requirement for forest either side of the river. And at the moment in Malaysia, for example, or in the part that we're working in, Sabah, it's a 20-metre buffer. So we can explore if you increase that buffer to, say, 40, 50, 100 metres, what does that mean for biodiversity? But also, what does it mean for the oil palm? Some of the work that we've done shows the importance of those riparian areas. And we now know that if you increase those riparian areas, you get a lot back in biodiversity, but not that much lost in terms of oil palm cultivation area. So things we might see out of the project are recommendations or potentially policy changes. So we've done a lot of work on the ground with stakeholders in these countries. So we might see recommendations being changed, might be policies being changed, or it might be the certification itself, like, for example, the Roundtable on Sustainable Palm Oil recommendations. They have recommendations for these landscape policies, but we're doing science that can contribute to those and maybe improve those in the long term. So we can change the way that those policies might impact on biodiversity and on palm oil itself.
Right.
So, I mean, one very good, fortunate challenge is that we have a lot of data. So, but making the most of those data sets is, a lot of computing time and a lot of sitting at the desk time, as well as, all the time that we spent in the field collecting those data sets. So we're lucky in that, we almost have too much to work with.